You're listening to Cards to the Moon, a podcast about trading cards from both a collector and investor perspective. We hope you'll stick around for the ride as we take a deep dive into the state of the hobby, share some hot takes, hopefully some useful advice, and fun stories along the way. Hey guys, welcome back to Cards to the Moon. My name is Clark from 5 Card Guys on Instagram and 5cardguys.com. With me as usual is John, who is Trade You at Recess on Instagram. And Hyung is actually not here today, but he should be back with us on our next episode. Okay, so a couple of quick things off the top. First, is actually our friend Will. I think he brought it up in our group friend chat group that mentioned Costco is once again stocking Topps baseball cards in their stores. More specific, actually, maybe it wasn't Will. I think he responded to it. But anyway, someone from our group brought it up, and it's called the Flagship Collection, which contains 2 packs of Series 1, 2 packs of Series 2, 6 packs of Topps Update, 1 Jumbo Series 2 card, and 5 exclusive Flagship Collection packs, which I think are the silver packs in that package. So I read they're only starting with Costco stores in California and Arizona, so you might not see them at your local Costco stores yet. But if they do go out eventually to all the Costco stores, a question for you, John. Do you think this is good for the hobby, or is there any concern that we might be entering another junk wax era? Because, you know, with all this inventory, you can imagine they're just printing the daylights out of Topps Update, Topps Series 1 and 2.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's both, to be honest. As much as there is overprinting, I think it's a good thing. Maybe not for hardcore collectors that are, or flippers and whatever.
Right.
I think even just for kids, like people where cards were a little bit inaccessible, now they are able to not only access them, but at a pretty decent price, right? If it's at Costco. So in that sense, I think it's great news. And then is this any kind of notification, any sign towards like a junk wax era 2.0? I mean, I think this era is going to go down as junk slab era. That's number one for sure.
Right.
No question. Are we in a bit of a junk wax era? It's you know what, to be honest, it's possible. It's kind of like that, the whole cyclical thing, right? So you have the actual junk wax era where cards went crazy, and you have this era where cards also went crazy, right? And
sure.
I think I was listening to a podcast, and I want to give credit where credit's due, but I can't remember who mentioned it. They're talking about how this might be another phase, like where we're seeing young kids enter the hobby. But what you have to remember, just like when we entered the hobby when it was hot back in the early 90s, you're only really going to be interested in cards until probably hitting mid to late high school when you're a senior, right? And then that's when you start caring about cars and girls and stuff like that, right? And you get out of it. So they were kind of predicting there's going to be a stage in our era, maybe in 1 or 2, maybe 3 years, where all the kids start to exit. It's no longer like the greatest thing to do. They get into high school and they no longer start to care about cards again.
Right.
And we'll go back into like a big lull, right? So
interesting. Yeah.
So I mean, that was eye-opening to me because I think there's a lot of merit to that point, right?
I can see that.
Yeah. So I think if Topps, Fanatics, the companies are listening, I think that is something to note for like long-term planning, right? Like what you're trying to reach out to the kids, you're trying to reach out to see if this is sustainable, especially if you're going to 10x the hobby. That's something to note. So tread carefully in product packaging, tread carefully in pricing and all of that stuff, right? Don't put the young kids at the wayside, because they're going to enter and they're going to leave.
Yeah. Yeah, no, good points there. I think going back to the pricing on Costco, I think I saw on Twitter that in the US stores anyways, where it's already out, it was priced at $34 US.
Okay.
So we're looking at probably $50 here in Canada.
Wait, how many
isn't bad.
How many packs was it?
I just counted about 15 packs.
15 packs?
A variety of Series 1, Series 2, and Update, mostly Update.
Okay.
So, and then you got those 5 silver packs. You know.
Right. That's not bad, actually, I guess.
Yeah. I was kind of saying in our chat before the show that if I saw it at Costco, I would definitely pick one up. Just knowing that there's absolutely 0 hits in there, probably. You know, it's like, yeah. So I wonder, well, on that point too, I wonder if there's like exclusive hits, you know what I mean? Like just retail or even more specifically Costco package hits that you can get, which I think is a little gimmicky anyway.
Kirkland parallels?
Yeah. Kirkland parallels. I like that. Yeah. So, we'll see. You know, it's perfect timing. Christmas is around the corner, and I'm sure if it's stocked in stores across the country, across the continent, yeah, that's going to be, you know, I can see it's being sold out in some Costco stores. That's for sure.
For sure.
But yeah, I guess I agree with you too. It could be another junk wax era, not to the degree that we've experienced it as kids. I don't think. You know, I think they're hopefully smarter than that.
Right.
But when you're talking about like just the whole timeline of, you know, how things might play out with kids exiting the hobby that are in it now, I wonder if the only thing that could change it is, you know, all these experiences that we're hearing of, like celebrities coming into play, athletes, you're really promoting the hobby, you know, if that becomes a part of culture, like the hobby becomes a little bit more ingrained in what's quote unquote cool, you know, then maybe, you know, we won't see that mass exodus we experienced before. Because, you know, when we were kids, no one was really promoting the hobby. We talked about it in previous podcast episodes too. Like there's 0 marketing on cards, you know, it's like, okay, that's it. You know, when you grow up, you grow up. But now it's like, you know, you see Tom Brady ripping packs and Travis Scott and Kevin Hart, like celebrities, real, you know, legit celebrities getting into the hobby. So who knows how things will play out, but interesting to see it in Costco for sure. Second thing I want to talk about is Tim Duncan. You brought this to my attention, actually. The San Antonio Spurs legend, of course. He just signed an exclusive multi-year autograph deal with Panini America. So it's been a long time since we saw Duncan autos in any card set, I believe. I think I saw like it's 2 decades at least. What do you think of this deal? And do you think these Tim Duncan autograph cards will be in high demand?
I didn't realize it's been 2 decades. I remember searching for Tim Duncan autos because I was curious. I kept thinking to myself, I don't think I've ever seen a Tim Duncan auto. So I started searching.
Does he have one?
I don't remember seeing anything of any significance. Definitely nothing in like National Treasures, Flawless, anything that you would like to see. I think I may have seen some really, really older ones. I can't remember if it was Upper Deck or something, but wow, 2 decades. That's yeah. You know, to be honest, I think it's gonna be good. The reason why I brought this to your attention, I was listening to Sports Card Nonsense, and they talked about it. It was in one of their most recent podcasts, and they were talking, and I think it's going to be big, but you know, I'm a little worried that they're just going to put the pedal to the metal here. You know, I didn't realize that Charles Barkley, you know, Patrick Ewing were also 2 other legends that never really had autos before, and then they signed with Panini. I think Barkley was like 2 or 3 years ago. I think Ewing was pretty recently. And then out of nowhere, like their autos are in everything. Like it's no longer hard to get. You're pulling it like nonstop. So I think when it comes out, I would love to see it, but I'm hoping they don't go a little bit too crazy with the Tim Duncan. Like, you know, put it in a Flawless product. I think everyone obviously is going to go for the Logo Man 1-of-1 auto. Like that's going to be a big one. Yeah. But you know, even if you do put it in a smaller, I don't know, like NBA hoops, like make it numbered out of 10, you know, like just make his auto limited, keep that legend and that lore status like really, really high. Don't just start like completely watering down the market. Like that's, Tim Duncan doesn't deserve that. He's already underrated anyway. So
You know, that's exactly what's going to happen, though. They're going to just pump it out, you know? He's going to sign a ton, and it's going to be exactly what you said about Charles Barkley and Patrick Ewing. I don't know. Why wouldn't Panini do that at this point, right? Even their future is uncertain at this point. But still, it's kind of cool to see. I was just kind of looking back when, you know, Duncan had his last autograph, and the only one I found right away was 1997. His rookie press pass. It was an on-card auto press pass.
That's like the draft pick card, right? His press pass?
Yes, yeah. San Antonio #1 pick. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's his last auto for real? Or oh no, sorry, that's the one you found.
That's the one I found, but I mean,
wow.
That his rookie year? So 97. So yeah, it's over 20 years.
So do you know how that works? Because did he have exclusive rights this entire time with another company? Or did he just say to himself, I am not autographing anything, get lost? For the past 20 years. Like, I'm not autographing until you pay me exclusive right, you know?
I have no idea. That's a good question, though. But I could see Duncan doing something like that. You know, it's like, just not interested in signing anymore. Yeah. You know, especially while playing basketball. But now that he's retired. Well, I guess for me, like, if I'm expecting a ton of Panini, actually, I have it in my notes somewhere here that someone wrote, it looks like we'll have to wait until February 2024 for his first autograph cards to come out under this new deal. And it'll be in the 2023-24 Crown Royale set, which is coming out in Feb. Oh. And followed by the 2023-24 Impeccable Basketball. So those are the two sets that you can expect his first autograph cards under this new deal.
And they better be on card.
They better be.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll see. But, you know, with all this, you know, all the products that is coming out that will probably have his autograph, I guess, you know, for me, if I really wanted a Tim Duncan autograph card, I'm going to try to chase the super high-end ones, like the Flawless and the National Treasures.
Yeah, if you're a huge Tim Duncan fan.
Use your chance, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no question. That'll be huge.
So that'll be cool. In terms of value, I don't think it'll do much. Maybe at the beginning because the hype will be there, you know. But like, I think it'll just follow the same pattern as Barkley and Ewing. You know, it'll come down to earth. So if you really want one, and you didn't get it right off, or if you didn't pull it, then I would just wait and see the prices come down a bit before pulling the trigger on one. Okay, let's move on then to hobby headlines. So if you're in the Toronto area, we got our biggest sports card show coming in a couple of weeks as of this recording. It's called the Sports Card Expo. As always, I plan to be there for at least 1, maybe even 2 days. John, we're talking off air. You and I are both planning to be there. We've been there before. Mm-hmm. And since doing this pod for the last 2+ years now, we've had episodes where we talked about preparing for the Sports Card Expo and providing any tips or strategies on what to do before a large sports card show in general. This time, I thought we could do something similar, but also talk about the sports card market a little bit and whether that changes what we plan to do, right? So, for example, you know, during the hobby boom in 2021, we were looking to trade and buy cards that might be the next big thing, you know, to flip, to make a profit. It seems so easy to do during that hobby boom year. Then in more recent years, we're just trying to unload all of our junk slabs, right? Like that was our strategy. and you know, during that time too, like I was just saying, I found that dealers were still pricing their cards way too high because they probably got burned with their inventory during the hobby boom that we just talked about.
Right.
Now, in 2023, I think the market is settling down a bit. It's still on the decline, but do you think dealers have adjusted their prices by now? Do you expect more deals on cards as a result? Or are you still in sell mode, you know, stuck with even more junk slabs? I lost track of where you are with that, John, because I knew you had a bunch yourself.
Yeah. The first part of your question, I think, you know, I've following some Instagrammers in the States that have been going to shows. Mm-hmm. And if we're being honest, it doesn't look like dealers have really changed their strategies. So they're still there's tons of complaints of dealers being like 50, 100% over comps and then asking for 60% of comp on your cards. So it's the same old story, which is completely fine. Every dealer is allowed to do what they want to do.
Sure.
We'll see how it is in Toronto. I'm anticipating it being exactly the same as always. All the complaints and pet peeves that people have been listing, that's what we're gonna for the most part we're gonna see a bunch of that at the show, which is again fine. I did have a lot of slabs. I think at one point I owned 300 slabs, I want to say.
Wow. Okay.
I'm proud to say that I'm down to like less than 50 maybe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I sold off everything. Like, luckily, there was some random Kijiji buyer that was interested in any slab I had that was under like $25. And I loaded all of my Kestons, everything that I could just package into one deal, and I just gave it to him all. So I must have unloaded whatever remaining like quote unquote trash I had, even like Louis Robert base and Boba bases, things like that. Like all went to that guy. So it was pretty good. And this was like beginning of this season or late last season. So, I was still getting like $40 for each Louis Robert. Like I still did pretty well, to be honest. Like, what are those worth now? Like $10 or $9? It's ridiculous how much they've gone down. So,
yeah, that's good. I didn't know you got rid of that much. So when you go into this show now, right?
Yeah.
In November, do you have a new strategy, or what are you looking for? Are you looking to buy now, or are you still selling?
So I think I'm gonna just be doing serious window shopping, because you know me, I want to trade. Like that's what I love doing. Right. That's what I have the most fun doing at the shows. The only thing is I've kind of run out of inventory. I'm down to 50 slabs. A lot of them are PC. And if we're being honest, what I've experienced in the last handful, like last two expos, I find that dealers don't really display low-end cards as much anymore. There's a lot of rare items, like like big ticket items that you kind of see like minimum $500 or $300 or something like that, right? On the hockey side, you see a lot less low-end young guns. You start seeing all of the Crosby future watches and some bigger cards, right? Yeah. And the issue is that they have rare cards, and whatever Luka base optic, it's worth $200, right? But even if you offered it to them for $100, they still don't take it, because they are also looking for something very rare in return. So that the trade dance compared to a couple of years ago is so different now. So if you don't have high end, rare, or like one of the big names of each sport, right? Like you're talking about, Brock Purdy or Connor McDavid. Like if you don't have like the sparkly, shiny new toy, most dealers, like I think the last time I was there, I even brought a lot of my more rare stuff that are valuable. Some cards are like $1,200, $2,000. Some are $100, $200, fairly liquid, some big names. And you just provide the whole stack. And they'll go through the entire stack. No, I'm good. They go through the whole stack. No, I'm good. I'm like, man, there's some good cards in there. Like, I'll give you, I'm willing to take 60% on comps. Like, no, I'm good. It's like, man, these dealers are looking for very specific special cards to trade. So for me, the trade window, I'm not anticipating an easy road to try to get a deal done. So, I mean, maybe my answer is to go to one of these trade events. Like I've never gone to a trade night. Yeah. I've been dying to go, but I've never had, none of you guys have ever been able to go either. So I don't want to feel like that loser that goes solo to a trade night, but
well, let's see if it works out this this time around. Maybe that's definitely the way to go, I think. Because I'm kind of echoing what you're already saying, that I don't, well, first, like, some of our friends make fun of me because I have this big case, right? And when I open it up for you guys, there's like 10 cards in there. It's like, like my plan was to accumulate cards, but then, then everything started to kind of crash. So I stopped buying as well, or at the pace that I used to be buying, or so I don't have that many. And on top of that, I've been liquidating my cards already as well, and I'm down to like literally 6, 7 slabs now, you know,
Right.
and so I don't have much trade bait to begin with. I am hoping to buy, like, it depends on, if there are good deals. And I think, you know, if there is one dealer that has reasonable prices, you know, I don't mind accumulating some cards now. But to your point, I haven't been seeing much either on my Instagram feed either. Like the Chantilly show just happened. I know some of our hobby friends have gone to that in the States. And, you know, a lot of them seem to be buying PC cards more than just, you know, things they might want to flip later. So which is fine, right? I think we're kind of in that stage right now where people are just looking for cheap PC cards for themselves.
Right.
And then, you know, there's fun in that too. But I'm hoping to pick up at least one more Grail. I kind of said this earlier on in the year. I picked up the Mike Trout Bowman Chrome First Auto, which I've also mentioned many times on this pod. And I am hoping to pick up one more Grail at a significantly reduced price compared to 2021. I'm not sure I'll find it at this expo. I'll go to every booth.
If you could choose the one card, like what is the one card you want to see?
I have a short list. So like, you know, anything from like a Steph Curry Topps Chrome, right? Numbered, $9.99. Connor McDavid Future Watch, which I know at the expo, it's going to be overpriced.
Right.
Anything hockey is going to be overpriced.
Right.
And what else? Luka Auto, rookie auto, which, you know, to be honest, there's not a lot of basketball at the Sports Card Expo, so that might be difficult as well. But, you know, like, who knows? You could get lucky. So I might be doing exactly what you're planning to do at the end of the day. A lot of window shopping, and I'll just be carrying my 6, 7 slabs around with me just in case anyone wants to trade anything that I have. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I always like going to the Sports Card Expos. It's usually a lot of fun. Maybe we just need to just buy like wax. We just need to rip.
Yeah, you know what? I might be down.
Yeah, there you go.
I still have that seed money from all of the junk slabs that I threw away.
Nice.
So yeah, I could use that money to buy a couple of boxes.
Yeah. We'll definitely follow up with our listeners how the Sports Card Expo went when we do go in a couple of weeks. And who knows? You know, I'm hoping Hyung will come. He's usually the buyer. He usually always picks up at least one or two good cards. Usually at the end of the show, and we're all about to leave, and we're like, "Well, Hyung, where'd you get that?" You just like, "Oh, I just picked a Vlad Guerrero blue refractor, in a trade," or it's like
some crazy monster card. It's like, oh, jeez.
So at least we could live vicariously through Hyung still.
Oh, 100%.
But although, he would be the first to say he unloaded a ton of slabs as well, right? Like, he was auctioning them off pretty much every day on eBay for a little while over the past summer. So I'm not sure how much he has in terms of trade bait himself, but I think he's always looking for a Grail card too. Mm-hmm. He has got that one-on-one. If you looked at his Instagram reel today, on his and on our Cards to the Moon Instagram site, like he still has that one-on-one Max Verstappen, which is kind of, which is really cool. That could be interesting for someone there at the show, but we'll see. And that's actually, before we go into the next segment, that's something I want to look into. Like all the not the major sports, but this F1's still big, or tennis still, like golf. I wonder if there's a bigger presence or if it's just totally gone by now. Right. Right. So that'll be interesting to see what kind of inventory there is there. All right. I wrote this note too. Like if you're on my Instagram page, I've been doing a lot of these reels where I'm showing the price action from like what it costs at the peak to what it costs now and the percentage loss. A lot of them are minus 80, minus 90%. And a few people are getting upset that that's all I'm showing these days, apparently. It's like, why can't I show like cards that go up in value? Why can't it be more positive? Right. I love being positive, but in reality, there are not a lot of cards that are going up in value, so that's one, right? And two, I am a positive guy. I'm seeing this as a good buying opportunity. All right. Totally. These cards are, at all-time lows, and if I see some of the cards that I've been posting at the card show for those low prices, I might be tempted to pick one up. It's not,
for sure,
it's not all bad.
For sure. Like, I mean, I think the two of us would, if we saw a pretty nice Juan Soto, I'll probably try to make a move for that,
There's another guy it's on my short list. Yeah, exactly. For sure. Did we talk about that the last podcast episode?
I think we did.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Hyung brought up a Juan Soto, something 1v1 or something.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there you go. So great for baseball card lovers. Off season. Well, almost off season. Arizona Diamondbacks versus the Rangers. Who could have predicted they would make the World Series?
Crazy.
I'm so glad I didn't put all my money on the Braves and Dodgers making the World Series, because I would have lost a ton. But go Diamondbacks. I like to go for the underdog there.
Yeah, I think most people, casual fans watching, are going for Diamondbacks. They're a fun team to watch.
Very fun. All right, let's go on to our next segment. And because it's just you and me, John, usually when Hyung sits this one out, we always do like a hockey segment. So this next segment is a hockey-themed version of Overrated, Underrated. All right, so I'm going to list some hockey-related things, cards, players, and you tell me if they're overrated, underrated. Okay. First one. We know Wayne Gretzky's rookie card, O-Pee-Chee. That's the grail, right? That is what people, diehard hockey fans, diehard hockey card collectors want. But we also know there's the 1979 Topps version of Wayne Gretzky rookie card. Overrated or underrated?
Overrated.
Whoa.
Overrated.
Wow, okay.
So Americans will probably completely disagree and say, the pop count is super low. It didn't get printed that much. It's super underrated, et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, hockey is mostly, the majority of the market people who buy are Canadians. I mean, they're the ones that are most interested in it, like for the most part, right? There's tons of Americans that are very, very into hockey, but for the most part, a big portion of the market is driven by Canadians.
Yeah.
And if you had grown up at all, like in our era, Topps hockey meant nothing. Like, it was all about O-Pee-Chee. And the fact that maybe I'm just hating on Topps hockey a little bit too much than I should be. But the fact that sometimes I see like certain Topps rookie cards, like I remember seeing like Joe Sakic's Topps rookie card sell for more than the O-Pee-Chee version. Like that.
Wow,
in the hockey world, like that shouldn't happen, right? Like, I get it. You can call it underrated because there was a lower print count, like a print, but O-Pee-Chee was everything. Like, O-Pee-Chee is the brand that represents hockey. So yeah, I think overrated.
I'm with you, but if you want a cheaper Wayne Gretzky rookie card, because generally they are much cheaper than the O-Pee-Chee version, it's a nice card to have. But yeah, not as necessarily as an investment. Yeah,
dude, I remember when we're back in the day, like in the playground, if you came with a Topps hockey card, it was the same as coming in with a fake card. People were like, "What is it?" Like, Topps hockey? Get this out of my face.
Oh man,
it was equal to fakes. Like, that's how much we didn't like seeing Topps.
Our American listeners are just shaking their heads at us right now. But hey, we're Canadians. We love hockey. What can we say? You know what I always wonder, though, before I go to the next card? How many do you think a year accidentally buy the 1979 Topps Wayne Gretzky card, thinking that it's like, wow, this is a deal, and realizing it's like, wait, there's a O-Pee-Chee card, like they're just learning. There's got to be.
I'm pretty sure.
Non-zero.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would bet that happens quite a bit.
I'm working on an Instagram reel for that to educate the masses. Between the Topps and O-Pee-Chee version of Wayne Gretzky. So that's coming soon.
The funny thing is, on the flip side, I think O-Pee-Chee baseball, just like how Topps hockey is kind of gaining a bit of steam and being called underrated, low print runs, et cetera, et cetera. I think on the flip side, O-Pee-Chee baseball is also kind of raising some eyebrows and catching people's attention because of like low pop counts, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, it's interesting to observe.
You know what? There you go. We're even now. Americans can say, "Oh, peachy baseball that's as good as fake." And I will agree with you 100% there. All right. Okay, next card. We talk about goalies, how they're not respected, in the hobby as much as they probably should be. But this goalie, 1986 O-Pee-Chee rookie card. Do you know who I'm talking about? 1986, who was a rookie? Patrick Waugh. His 1986 pop count, PSA 10 pop count is 91. Last sold in August of this year for $9K.
Okay, I know it's goalies, but back in the day, goalies were a big deal. Like kids loved goalies. Like if you're in Toronto, who didn't love Felix Potvin? Who didn't love Curtis Joseph? And eventually Eddie Belfour. Like goalies was the shiz, man. Like it was big. So Patrick Waugh, that card is as iconic as it gets. Like people knew. Obviously, kids knew the Gretzky. That was like unattainable. But certain kids could get their hands, maybe if their dads collected, they could get their hands on the Patrick Waugh. They could get their hands on the Brett Hull. Like there's a handful of Joe Sakic, Steve Yzerman that are just completely iconic of that era. That is a holy grail card for a lot of collectors, and the PSA 10 is super rare. Like what did you say? Under 100, right? Like 91?
Yeah, 91.
Yeah. I don't know what's the historic value. Like what was the high of that card? Like 25K or something crazy?
12K.
12K was the high?
Yes.
And it's at
9,000. Yeah.
Dang, you didn't lose that much money on hockey cards. Good for the hockey collectors.
Yeah. There you go.
It's hard because I don't sit in the big hockey card space, so I don't know if I can't really sit here and say like if that's a good deal or a bad deal. At 9,000, that's a lot of money. But I will say, for those that don't collect hockey and are wanting to learn some tidbits of what are some of the grail cards out there, like Patrick Waugh, that rookie card is one of the grails for many collectors. So I think for that reason, without really knowing the price history, I'm going to say underrated. Yeah,
I'm going to say underrated for the same reason too, because I think, if you compare hockey now, kind of to your point, goalies are kind of like, they're a dime a dozen. But people know who Patrick Waugh is, even if you're not a Montreal Canadiens fan.
Right.
And, I remember when you play hockey with your friends, street hockey, and they're like, oh, you're a net. You always pretend you're Patrick Waugh. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like Patrick Waugh and Marty Brodeur. It was like the two guys.
That's it. Exactly. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So there you go. Okay. Next one. We already talked about this player in a previous episode, but the 2023-24 Upper Deck first draft pick of Connor Bedard in, what was it, Series 1 this year?
Yeah.
Upper Deck Series 1.
Yeah, little Easter egg.
Yeah.
Yeah, overrated.
Still, eh?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, I get it. A lot of hype. It's fun to chase. I feel bad for those that are buying it, thinking it was like a super Easter egg. I don't know if it is at this point. I'm assuming it's just like a normal SP and not like an SSP or Ultra SP. So I know the last time we talked about this, was it last week? It was like $500 Canadian, selling for 600 Canadian or like around that mark. And now,
450.
450. Okay. So the price is still okay. That's, I think when the dust settles and all of the prints come out, I think it's going to be, my guess is going to be overrated. So yeah, definitely overrated.
Yeah, and I'll repeat what we said last time, especially with more Bedard cards coming out in the future. This one will be definitely drop in value. All right, I don't have any specific card for this player, but I wanted to bring him up because, Bedard's getting all the headlines. But if you look at the betting odds, number 2, I always like to do this because, you never know, number 2 or 3 can sneak up. Logan Cooley, Arizona.
Oh, he's nice.
Coyotes center. Is he a center?
I think he is. Is.
So do you think he's flying under the radar, or do you think he's properly rated? Properly
when is this card in Series 1? Where's his Young Guns? Not yet? Or was it last year? Not yet.
I don't think it's there's not much for Logan Cooley cards, to tell you the truth. Yeah, when I look.
Because Logan Cooley is not the Bedard draft class. He's the year previous.
Oh, is that right? Okay. So, but he's still considered a rookie this year.
Yeah, this is his first cup of coffee in the NHL.
Okay. That's why in the betting sites he's number 2, number 3 usually behind Bedard.
He's slick, man. I like him a lot. I think he's a stud. Kind of a shame that he's in Arizona and he's gonna it's like playing for the Anaheim Angels. You're just not gonna be in the spotlight. No offense to Arizona, but I hope they play well. I hope they go in the spotlight because I think Logan Cooley will be a big part of that. So I will say, is he flying under the radar? I don't know, because people who know hockey know who he is. But overall, yeah, obviously, I think similar to Ohtani, I think Connor Bedard is clearly going to take all of the shine in hockey. So is Logan Cooley going to be under the radar? Yeah, he how can you say he won't be? So I'm going to say underrated.
Okay. Yeah. I'll take your word for it because I've never heard of Logan Cooley until I researched for this segment. So it's like cross betting sites, he seems to be consensus number 2 or 3. So
right.
And I don't see any of his young guns or anything like that out. It's all like his IIHF
right.
Cards.
If he comes out in Series 2 with Connor Bedard, that's gonna be pretty sweet.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
that's something to look out for. All right, last one. Do you know who's leading the league as of this recording in terms of points? 17 points already.
Holy cow.
The next guy is 14. So he's, not a huge advantage, but still. Yeah. Came out blazing.
17 points? Oh man, I wish I had been paying attention to points. Well, it's definitely
your boy.
I don't think it's definitely nobody on my fantasy team because
You're not in first place?
They're not doing so hot.
It's your boy. You're a big fan.
Am I really? Shoot.
I'll give you a big clue. He plays for the New Jersey Devils.
Oh, Jack Hughes.
17 points.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, Jack Hughes.
And, just to give you some context, like we were talking about his Future Watch Auto, before the season started. And
right.
In early October, it was going for about 2K. We're like, oh, it seems like a lot, right? You know, because the season's starting, about 2,100 bucks. Mm-hmm. So it last sold this week for 3K.
To hang. That's pretty nice. Whoever has that card.
So what do you think? Jack Hughes, hot start. He can keep it up for the rest of the season, and actually McDavid's injured right now too. So that's why you're not seeing him in the top 10 in terms of points. But still very early.
Right. If Jack Hughes develops into a player that consistently gets, over like 110 points per season, like that puts him to some serious elite category. He'll probably surprise me because I kind of put him in the consistently over 90, 100, having a handful of like 100-point seasons. If he starts to, there's no way he's going to keep up this pace. Like this is hot. Like it's a hot start. Yeah. But I see him in that kind of like 90 to 100-point category. So, I don't know. The question is underrated, overrated, right?
Mm-hmm. Even just as like not even any specific card, but if you're like looking to buy Jack Hughes rookie cards in general, do you think it's a good play now or?
No, yeah, he is overall. I think he's kind of in the underrated category because I don't think people really viewed him as like a top 10 talent. Maybe like potential, the really amazing potential, but in terms of like, would you buy it right now? I would say. No, so for that reason, I can't believe I'm saying this, but overrated. Because seriously, if you wanted to take advantage, you should have bought in the off season. And this is the perfect sell moment. Like this is what you wanted to see early in the season, hot start. Everyone's excited about hockey. Like this is exactly what you try to do for those trying to in that flipping game. So if you tried and you hit on it, perfect. But if you missed out, it is what it is. Like you just missed out. This is not a buying opportunity. It's just, you just happen to miss out. So you can wait mid-season lull towards the end of the season, next off season. But for me, I think you missed your chance.
Yeah. Excellent point. And then, in a previous episode, again, we looked at some of these prices and there's a distinct pattern. Like every March, April, the prices go down.
Right.
And then it bottoms out usually around May, June. And then things start picking up as we get closer to the fall. So yeah, good for the person that bought it at like 12, 13, 1400 in the off season and just flipped it double this past week. So there you go. All right, there's your hockey themed overrated, underrated edition. And we always like to do more hockey as some of our fans request now and then. Okay, let's end off with our regular weekly segment we call Pick One. And I'll go first since Hyung's not here, but I'm going to take one of our loyal fans of the pod, Josh, aka Inspired Sports Cards, and he gave me a pretty good pick one. On one side, you got Derek Jeter's 1996 Topps Chrome PSA 7 refractor, okay? And last sold in the summer for about $650, okay? And then on the other side, he puts up the 1996 Topps Chrome of Derek Jeter, but the non-refractor. And I'm assuming it's the PSA 10, which sold for about $300.
Okay.
Okay, so let's say two of those, right, to make the numbers even. Two Topps Chrome non-refractor PSA 10s, or you're going for just the one PSA 7 Topps Chrome refractor. And keep in mind, I think it's the refractors that have the greening issues, kind of like the Kobe Bryant, right? The Topps Chrome refractors, right? So
I feel like the refractor has less greening than the actual base card. Anyways, besides.
Oh, is that right? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, which one would you go for in this pick one?
So I'm going to have to think of what would our boy Refractor Jones pick in this one. And Refractor Jones is obviously going to pick the refractor version. So it's an easy one for me. It's definitely the refractor. I think when you're going to look at vintage chrome, it's all about, like almost kind of similar to insert chasing. I think that the vintage Topps Chrome, vintage chromium products, Topps Finest, it's all about the refractors, regardless of grade. And I think this 7 is a bit ugly, I will admit, versus like a PSA 10 base. But yeah, and I have another thing about base cards right now. But yeah, refractor, okay. I think it's pretty easy, even if it's double the price, and you have to. It's versus two PSA 10s, and I get it. PSA 10s could be a little bit more liquid, but just so much cooler from a collection standpoint to look at, to enjoy. Maybe some people would think about cracking it out, putting it to a one touch.
Good idea.
So in that sense, I think for a collection wise, it's great. And then I think when it comes time to trading or selling, I still think the refractor will do better. So
yeah, personally, I'm going to go for the refractor as well. Because, like if you're looking at an investment, it's only $300. You know what I'm surprised by though is the Topps Chrome non-refractor PSA 10, the base. You know what the pop count is? What do you think the pop count would be for PSA 10 of this card, 1996 Derek Jeter?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I guess many people probably wouldn't have. Number one, I don't think baseball was big, like chrome wise compared to basketball. Yeah. So I don't know. Let's say 250.
Yeah, 59.
59?
So 59, yeah. So relatively low, but but to your point, it could be a function of not many collectors wanting to grade this particular card. Right. So I wouldn't read too much into it. And the refractor, like the PSA 7 it's still a beautiful card. It does get pretty pricey every grade up. PSA 8 last sold for $700. So you might want to upgrade there. PSA 9 goes up to $1,500. And PSA 10, $30,600. So I might have to do an Instagram reel of those, like the different PSA grades. Pop 9 for a refractor PSA 10.
I bet Refractor Jones is sitting on like half of the population.
Yeah. He's got four of the 9 that's currently graded a PSA 10.
Holy cow, that's insane.
It's crazy. And a BGS 9.5 refractor, if you're curious, with a Pop 5 count, it's going for $3,350. I think that's the deal.
Dang.
That's what I would get.
Right.
Out of, I mean, I wouldn't be able to get the 30,000 anyways, but but if I really wanted this card, the BGS 9.5, that's a steal, I think.
Yeah, seriously. 10x of the PSA 10? Wow.
Yeah. All right. Well, we both chose refractor. Josh, hope that helps. and good luck if you're looking to get one. All right,
All right.
John, you got one?
Yep. So I'm gonna play off of I think a 1v1 that was from last week.
Okay.
What was it about? Anyways, it was I think it was a Bowman. I think you did it. It was like a Bowman first versus the Corbin Carroll insert.
Yeah. Insert. Yeah. Rating the rookies.
So I'm gonna do a little bit of a variation of that, and we're gonna go. And there's a reason why I'm choosing this. I have a bit of a bone to pick with Topps.
Okay.
We're gonna go Bowman first, non-auto, versus, doesn't matter which one. Like we're just gonna go equivalent value. So if you choose $1,000 Bowman first versus any other non-Bowman first auto of the same player, it could even be rookie year of the same value.
Oh.
So $1,000 non-Bowman first auto Corbin Carroll, or the Bowman first non-auto of Corbin Carroll. And before you go on, I think we talked about how in this current environment in sports cards, certainly in baseball, there's been way more of an emphasis recently in the last 12, maybe even 18 months of like Bowman first, especially Bowman first autos, just completely taken off.
Yeah.
And then I think on top of that, to add to that, and this is just my opinion and my observation, maybe there's no merit to it, but I think, like the greed of some of these companies, right? Like we saw the down, and I'll get to like kind of this in this a similar light to like the downfall of Select with what Panini did, right? Like people were all about Select, investing in Select, and then Panini decided to make a massive print runs with like gazillion parallels and completely destroyed it, right? And I feel like Topps, starting with Wander Franco, they got greedy. They wanted to just pump Wander Franco to the moon, sell as much product as possible. And they kind of muddied the waters with like Flagship, a little bit. Right. And then the following year, they went crazy with J-Rod. And I think that J-Rod's year was a bit of the nail in the coffin, where it was like the SP, and it just like there's so much confusion. Every set had a different photo. Yeah. And I think to me, and I don't know about you, but what I'm kind of observing is they might have killed Flagship. Remember like how we'd always talk about Flagship image, it's underrated, like Juan Soto batting, like it's the Flagship image, it's going to be iconic.
Yeah.
And I think Flagship now is like, it's kind of out the window. It might be on its way out. Like who talks about Corbin Carroll Flagship image? Like I don't even know which one is the Flagship. I don't know. Like,
right.
Who talks about J-Rod? I don't know I don't know what the Flagship is anymore. Like I don't think anybody talks about it anymore, right? And I think because of that, additionally, like the previous years, even whatever, Mike Trout, 2013, like all of these are sort of like base, boring Flagship image rookie, like the quote unquote main rookie card. It's kind of going out the window, right? So maybe the old school collector in me is a bit upset about that. I don't know. Like I feel like Topps' overprinting and greed really kind of flipped the hobby world, right? A little bit, right? So especially baseball wise, and it kind of killed Flagship. So that's why I wanted to specifically do this 1v1, because even in Bowman first, like nobody talks about the Bowman first Flagship image anymore. Like that's not even a thing. Like you want to get Corbin Carroll Bowman first, it's like the auto. Like you're going after the auto. You're not going after no. Even if it was like a gold out of 50, it's like whatever. Yeah, okay. Like I who cares? I want the PSA 10 auto of base or whatever, right? So I wanted to see how you felt about this. So it's the Bowman first, quote unquote, Flagship Bowman first non-auto versus any equivalent amount, dollar per dollar. So if it's a gold out of 50 that's worth $1,000, pick any other on-card auto of said player Corbin Carroll of equal value. What's a better investment?
I feel like I already know what you're going to say after that obviously, preamble.
You know what I'm going to say. So it's just your answer from here.
You know what? But then I don't know, because you have a history of rambling on about one side and then you choose the other side for some reason. So I'm curious to see. With all that being said, I think I'm going to pick the. Yeah, so I'm curious to see what you actually say. But you know what? everything you said in the preamble is why I'm choosing the autograph, right? Like I agree with all of what you said. Like it's getting to a point, it's just kind of ridiculous. Like I don't know, just based on the flagship image, if that carries any weight anymore. Because to your point, and what I've already been thinking is, I don't know which one's the flagship image anymore. Like I watched Scotty B. Card's videos to see what it is, and I'm still confused. I'm like, what? They just came out with 5 more, and he has to do an update on that video. Like it is just getting crazy now. So unless things change, like unless they reel it back in, say, hey guys, we just need 3 images of this player, or 2. And that's it. And maybe we do one really SSP version. That's it. But not like, literally we're almost at double digits for some of these players in terms of the rookie year images. Mm-hmm. So if that's the case, then the autograph is the differentiator for me. And, I have a personal bias. I always like the autograph cards anyway, so it's an easy one for me there.
Yeah.
Auto.
Yeah. So obviously after that, I'm not going to pull what you think I'm going to pull. Obviously, I'm picking the auto. And I think investment-wise too, at this point forward, we kind of touched on like Derek Jeter base cards. Mm-hmm. And I honestly, I think this is also killing base in general, right? Like the whole, people not really thinking about flagship not really meaning anything. Like watch, if I go to the show, I mean, it is loose rubber, but I have loose rubber, orange refractor, flagship image, tops chrome. I have like a Tatis flagship image, foil board, PSA 10. And I get it. They're all like very, very down players, but people won't care about it because it's not the auto, right? It's not Bowman first. It's quote unquote flagship. Some of the younger kids can be like, I don't even know what that means. Like what's flagship, right?
Right.
So yeah, I think this point forward, if this is a question on somebody's mind in terms of what they should invest in, what they should grab, for me, I am going all the way. Like, and baseball in general, even too, like hardcore baseball fans have always been about autos. Like baseball is the sport for autos, right? So I think it's now time to shift gears on whatever base you have. Like even for me, I'm thinking of even pennies on the dollar, maybe selling some of the, like even the Juan Soto refractor. There's a part of me that's like, maybe I should get out of that card and get into a Juan Soto auto or something like that, right? So yeah, I think it's time to shift to autos. I think that's long term. You're definitely safe for an auto. So
I think that's smart. Yeah. But as you're saying this, I guess we could bring this episode full circle. When we started out talking about the Costco Topps cards that are going to be sold at Costco stores, that's called the flagship collection. So they're really pushing that. They're trying to remind us what the flagship collection is. It's like, guys, it's Top Series 1, 2, and update. So
yeah. So, what's gonna happen now? When you mention, oh, did you pick up Topps the flagship image, and some kid's gonna be like, oh, you mean the Costco cards?
Yeah, that could very well happen. So anyway, another great show. We hope you guys enjoyed it. If you haven't rated us on wherever you listen to your podcast, we would definitely love your comments, and we read everyone. And we'll have a brand new episode for you guys on Friday. All right, see you then. Bye. Hey, thanks for listening to Cards to the Moon. We'd really appreciate you subscribing to our podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can also connect with each of us on Instagram at 5cardguys, or you can follow Hyung at Integrity Sports Cards, or John at TradeU at Recess. You can also check us out at 5cardguys.com. Thanks again, and hope to connect soon.